Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Mistakes Were Made. We are taking a break on our very last day of work. It is, in fact, March 7th. This is the day that I am officially laid off. And it's a kind of a surreal situation because it feels like any other day, to be honest. Haven't been overcome with a bunch of emotions other than the various goodbye emails that have come through. There's obviously not been a whole lot of work to be done today, but then honestly that's been the case for a little while now. One of the other reasons why it's not entirely surprising that our department was deemed one that could be moved on. But yeah, I don't know. It's strange. But as you can see, it's a beautiful day out here in the backyard. So I figured I'll come out, take my break and do just a quick video on what's next. What is next? And that is really kind of a loaded question because the obvious answer is you need to get a new job. But there are a lot of things going on today that may make that difficult. If you've been paying attention to, the news and the world around you, you know what I'm speaking about. And it's not like the job market has been sunshine and roses even before now, so that is a concern. However, I am wanting to be as positive as possible about what the future is going to hold, and I think considering where we are today compared to where we could have been back in July of 2023, we have an absolute ton of things to be grateful for, and I mean, we are. The blessings that we have enjoyed and have been given to date have been enormous. I really feel like there's someone, somewhere, something that's been looking out for me and my family, because we could have been part of the 30,000 people that lost their jobs back in July of 2023. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We were absolutely not prepared to be able to weather losing half of our income at that time. We were over $45,000 in debt. We had no savings. And luckily, so lucky, we ended up being one of the folks that got kept on board. And as difficult as things have been with having the knowledge of a layoff hanging over your shoulder every single month for the last 18 months, you can't overlook that number. 18 months. We have been given 18 months to do our darndest to turn our situation around, make it as positive as possible. And I am very proud of ourselves because, we could have put our heads in the sand, continued to live the way that we were living, because we had been granted, a stay of execution, as it were, and, rolled the dice and made assumptions that everything was going to turn out all right. And I think if we still had our same mindset from before, that we might have taken the fact that the job kept on going as kind of like a sign of, yeah, see, it'll be fine. But we buckled down. We learned how to budget. We created a budget we could live with, and we did I think a pretty darn good job of avoiding temptations. If we gave into them, we learned from it and used every iota of opportunity that we were given to bring our debt down to zero for the most part, save money, and be prepared for today. So if you're new to my channel, I do recommend checking out our debt confession video from way back in October of 2023. That's when I started the channel. But bottom line, we were very, very far in debt, $45,000, $50,000 in debt. Plus we had our house and we had no significant savings. From that point all the way to November of 2024, we worked very, very hard and we became debt-free as far as our shared credit card debt was concerned, mine and my partner's, Mr. M. So that was a huge accomplishment. We weren't 100% debt-free, of course. Mr. M had a car loan and a credit card that we then started focusing on. And again, it's like Providence. It's just, it's strange how this has worked out, that the job has lasted just long enough for us to pay his car loan off, and he paid his credit card off. So as of the making of this video, we are now debt-free except for the house. The house was never in the cards. Oh, if only. But the house was never really in the cards. But it's just, I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm incredibly grateful for it, because the idea of facing layoff, first and foremost, while also having the strain and stress of all of the debt on top of that, that's a lot to bear. And I know that there are hundreds of thousands of people who do it every day. And, that is a strength that I hope they are celebrating, because they are fighting hard. I am very, very, very grateful that we do have that off our shoulders. So, question is, what's next? You may have gotten a little bit of a peek of it when my camera was dipping down, but I do have some new numbers as far as what we're going to be working with, where we're going to be drawing money from until I actually find a new job. So let's take a little look down here. I've got all my little notes, and as you can see, I did okay, so because I am in Oregon, our laws state that we must receive our final check on our last day of work, which obviously that's today. So I received a PTO payout after taxes of $8,876.22. You will remember, if you've been watching, maybe not, that is lower than what I was anticipating, because I was doing guesstimates of how much would come out in taxes and things like that. My guess was $8,954, so it wasn't too far off. I got my final paycheck, because I have worked this last week, of $1,006.83. Now the severance is different than a standard paycheck. So I don't know if I have to, but at least the rules that the company is doing is I will not get my severance agreement until after I have been terminated. So after today, it'll take up to a week for them to send it to me. I don't know why it would take that long, because there aren't a whole lot of us left. So hopefully it'll be fairly quick. And then I need to go into Oracle or whatever so that I can sign it, agree to it, sign it. And then once they have that signed agreement saying, yes, I agree to the severance package and all the rules around it, then they should pay out the check. I don't know how long it'll take to actually get that check. Hopefully no more than a week after that. So at this point, I don't know what that dollar amount is going to be. Now, I had guesstimated it'd be $4,292, but obviously I was a little bit off on the PTO, so it could be a little bit less. For our savings, we are at $15,781.50. At this time, we have $25,664.55 available. This is our bucket that we're going to pull money to make up for my lost wages. This will definitely go up once I get some, the severance, whatever that is, but for now, that's what we're looking at. And so if we take what my share of the budget, or what I need to cover of the budget, because Mr. M's pay is going to cover a certain amount, and so then what's left is $2,200. That gives us roughly 11.6 months of coverage. This has no unemployment payments in it, so there should be some additional relief or money coming from that. So the go forward is I'm going to be filing for unemployment either today or tomorrow. I'd had this fantastic thought that, hey, I can file for unemployment and try and use this week as my waiting week, because they did have an example where somebody was let go on Monday and they, did all the stuff that they were supposed to for the week, and that was their waiting week. So I was like, okay, well, it's doable. Unfortunately, that has been stymied. They did have in the handbook some criteria that you had to keep in mind for what would make a waiting week ineligible. One of those things is if you worked 40 hours, which I definitely have. The other is if you've earned during that week more than what your weekly allowance, benefit would be. Now, I have no idea what my benefit will be, but I can guarantee I have earned more than that. So instead, what I'll have to do is have my wait week start next week. So I will be doing the minimum requirement, which is do 5 work search activities, and they have a bunch of little examples of what a work search activity looks like. The bottom line is going to be applying for jobs. That to me seems like the easiest and more easily tracked thing. So, and that's the whole goal. So that's what I will be doing as most of my work search activities, I'm assuming. So I'll need to do that even during my wait week, which will not get paid for. Then the 17th would end up being my first active week. And so, this process, at minimum, I have to do 5 of these. That's what I'm going to be doing going forward for the next up to 26 weeks. They did have a little note in there that it could be up to 3 weeks before I get paid. So I'm very glad we have this to keep us going, because that's a kind of long time to have a break, especially if you're not receiving any kind of severance package or anything like that from your work. So that's kind of the bare bones go forward, because what's next? It's finding a new job. I am, reasonably pleased or not unhappy about learning that I can't use this current week, ending in the 7th, as my wait week, because frankly, I do feel like I need at least a little bit of downtime, to just get right, have a little bit of a mental health break, do some wind down activities, breathe a little bit, in order to have this amount of money. It meant I did sacrifice utilizing my PTO for over a year and a half. So I want to make sure I do take time to just be, because most likely any new job that I do get, one, is probably not going to have very much PTO available to a new employee. Two, depending on how they do things, there may be a delay before I can even use it. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. If I'm lucky, some places do 6 months, some places do a whole year. Three, even if I do have it, depending again on how they do things, it may be that it'll be an accrue thing. So I'll have to wait multiple months to have enough just to take a day anyway. And four, frankly, and maybe I'm old school, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking vacation time, even if I've earned it, even if, it's mine to use really early in my career with a new place. I would feel like it doesn't present me in the right light. And that's a me thing. So that's that. I want to make sure that I use this opportunity, this time where I am off work, to take the vacation that I denied myself so far, so that I'll be refreshed and ready to go 110% for whoever my new employer will be. I do plan on having them take taxes out of whatever my check is. They do say that you can do 10% federal and 6% state. I don't know if that's adequate. I don't know if that's the full limit, or if I can, ask them to take more out, especially because I have been working, and I am very, very sure that 10% and 6% is not what's being taken out of my checks right now. So I don't want to be in a situation where I have underpaid my taxes going into, next year. So I'll have to look into that. Now, there was a great question about whether there would be any issues or how I was going to handle, side hustle money coming in if I am doing unemployment. And one of the comments, because that's been a popular question, one of the comments mentioned that there's another person on YouTube, I think it was YouTube, who is in a similar situation. And what she did was she deferred her, I think it was YouTube payments, maybe it was Etsy payments, and so that she didn't get the payment, and she was going to hold off on receiving the payment until after she was done receiving her unemployment benefits. Now, I want to make it incredibly clear. What I'm about to, go over is specific to Oregon. I don't know where this person, that's other example person's living state is. I don't know what the rules are for them, but our state is very, 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 very clear because they mention it at least 10 different times in the handbook. You must claim any income that you make while you are getting unemployment in the week that you earned it. Not the week that you get it paid, not when you get a payout. It is when it is earned. And you have to do your gross amount. So, for example, starting next week, I am going to have to look each day at the YouTube revenue stuff and keep track of how many, pennies and dollars that I earn on YouTube. Same thing if anybody buys something from Etsy. During each individual week, I am going to have to keep track of how much money did I earn during that week, and then put that, claim that on the documentation that I have to turn in each week. I cannot say, oh, I'm going to put this on hold and not get a payout until, November or whenever, and have that be kosher. I mean, I can go ahead and do that, but I still have to tell them, on this week I earn this much, on this week I earn this much, even if I have not been paid out for it. Doing otherwise is considered fraud. I cannot, they are very, very adamant about how you are to determine how much that you have earned, how much, what the time periods are, and how you're supposed to note that. So, at least for Oregon, doing the method that this gal is doing, that would be constituted as fraud if I got caught. I am not going to put myself in that position, so I'm going to let them know exactly what I'm going to do. And as I've written down, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, frankly, my channel is very small, so I do not earn a whole lot of money from it. If you watched a very recent video, in the 3 months that I have been monetized, I have earned $113. So I'm not worried about the impact that will have. The other thing about it is, according to the rules, I can make up to 10 times the Oregon minimum wage, or 1/3 of what my weekly benefit amount is, whatever is higher. So, we actually have 3 different minimum wages. In non-urban areas, it's $13.70 an hour. The standard, which is, all other areas, is $14.70. And then the exception is in the Portland metro area. So any area within the urban growth boundary, the minimum is $15.95. So, I live within the PDX metro area, the Portland metro area, so $159.50 would be 10 times the minimum wage. That said, it would also depend on what my weekly benefit is, and I don't know what that is going to be. So if I gross, before the taxes are taken out, $600 a week. We'll put that there. I'm going to be very generous with myself. I'm going to get $600 a week before taxes. Then that would mean I could earn up to $200 a week and not have any issues. Now, if I earned $250 in a week, then they would say, okay, because you went over that 1/3 amount threshold by $50, we're going to take $50 from your gross. So then I would only be able to be paid $550 for that particular week. And then the taxes would come out, is my assumption, is that they wouldn't take it off of the taxed amount. They would take it off the gross and then do taxes, and I'd get that check. So I'm not really concerned. I don't earn enough in a week from either of my side hustles as a general rule to be of concern. However, that would depend. That would very much depend on what my weekly benefit is. If the weekly benefit ends up being less than $159.50, then obviously that would be what my limit would be. And depending, I don't know that I've made $159 in a week for Etsy. Maybe during the summer when it's the more popular, possibly. But yeah, so I'm not a little, too concerned. All right, so that's kind of it. I don't really have anything else. I was intending for this to be, kind of quick. It sounds like my neighbor's out in his yard doing yard stuff, so I'm gonna close. I'm feeling good. If I am gonna have, some kind of visceral reaction to all this, is probably gonna come later, a little bit later down the line. Maybe on Monday when I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't need to be up this early, or if I start to do my normal morning routine and then I realize, oh wait, I don't need to be doing this. Maybe I'll be at that time. But for right now, I do feel good. I feel like we are as prepared as we can be. And that is certainly a weight off my shoulders. So I will, of course, be keeping you guys up to date on how things are going. We will still be doing our budgeting. We have, other goals that we want to meet. We still have money coming in and going out, so we need to keep track of that. We're not going to just abandon everything that we've been doing now that we are in the position we are in. And I hope you guys will stick around and see how that all looks. All right, well, as always, if you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, just want to say, hey, how's it going? Please note those down in the comments, and I hope we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.